Hi everybody, I'm going to show you a few tricks for editing sketches in Photoshop, scanning them in, some tools that you'll need to know, and layering some sketches onto a sketch page. So um, here we go. So I've got in Photoshop a scan that I got from a flatbed scanner. You can see the white of the page all the way around. If you guys use a camera phone to take the picture, then you'll probably see some gray or yellow at the edges from daylight or ambient light that gets onto the sketch. So I highly recommend using a flatbed scanner. First thing I'm going to do is just check that my workspace is in Essentials. This will give me all the tools for working in Photoshop, optimized for what we like to do in industrial design. Next thing that I'm going to do is rotate the image so that I can see it better. Depending on your scan, um, it might come in at an angle, kind of like I have it. So go to Image on the toolbar, and you'll see some rotation options. I want it to go clockwise, 90 degrees, so I have it oriented there. Next thing I'm going to do is crop to the useful area of the sketch. Um, so on the toolbar over here, rectangular marquee is the second one down. You could also hit M on the keyboard and click and drag a box around what you want to preserve. You'll see that selection is made, and you can go up to Image and crop. Boom. So next I want to make some adjustments to this. Things may look good coming off the scanner, but we can always improve some of the white of the page as well as the look of some of the midtones if you guys use marker, or the black from ink or pencil. So to do that, you can do Image, Adjustments, and Levels is what you're looking for. You can also hit Control L. You can also search for it using that magnifying glass. So levels is what I want. So you'll see this dialog box come up. We spoke about this a little bit in class. This is a histogram that records all of the pixel values on your page. 255 being pure white, 0 being pure black. You can see that we have a high concentration of white or near white. We're just going to drag that set point over a little bit to kind of the base of this curve in here. And this is telling Photoshop that I want pure white to be a little bit down the scale a little bit, which will make all of my really, really light gray pixels pure white, which is good. We want that. Next over here, the 0 value, dragging this up to that next bump, or just before that next bump, changes our black set point so that everything to the left of this will become pure black. If we hit preview over here, hopefully you guys can see a subtle change, probably most dramatic over here, in making our sketch look a bit more crisp. So I think this is a very powerful tool, one that's always good to use. A few other ones that may be useful: image adjustments, brightness, and contrast. We'll give you this toolbar over here. This is pretty straightforward for what this does. Brightness will change that histogram and move it all the way to the right, so everything is sliding along. So your whole composition, your highlights, your midtones, your lowlights, everything gets brighter and conversely darker. So a little bit of a shift one way or the other could be helpful. Same thing with contrast. You can take that either up or down. Sometimes with photographs, I think bumping the contrast usually helps depending on the type of camera that you use. So that's another thing. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to keep those changes. And another thing is saturation, hue and saturation. So here I have another sketch that actually has color. So I just want to maybe zoom in a little bit on this green section. So image adjustments, hue and saturation. Hue is the value of the color, so we can move that and change the color of the marker that we used if we want to change that color. Also, we can change the saturation. So saturation is the intensity of that color. So if we go up in that, it gets even more green. If we go down in saturation, it kind of mixes with gray and black. It pulls the saturation of that color out, and it leaves us with the value, which is, gray, black, level of darkness. So that is a good set of tools there. So we'll come back to this in just a second. So I have everything adjusted. Things look nice and crisp. One more thing that you might want to do is use the eraser to get any stray marks or construction lines that you may have in your drawing. So E on the keyboard for eraser. It's also in the toolbar over here. And erasers have different hardness levels. So a hard eraser will erase pretty much that circular shape that you see in the window. A soft eraser will have a concentration in the middle and fade out or feather towards the edges. So in this case, we want it to be a hard eraser. You can use the bracket keys, right or left, on the keyboard to change the size of that eraser. You can also do it up here in the size slider. I like to use the bracket keys. So I'll do that and just take some of these construction lines down and reveal that notch in the far silhouette of that. You can also click and hold Shift, and that'll drag a straight line of the eraser between the 2 points that you click. So as a demonstration, again, I click here, I'm holding Shift, and I click again, it'll erase a straight line up to that point. So that can be pretty handy. One other thing, so Z for zoom, and you can drag left and right. I noticed that this sketch is a little crooked, so I'm going to use that marquee again over here. And then on Windows, Control T, Mac Command T, and you can rotate a little bit that sketch. Okay. Hit Enter to lock it in. If you guys see any black cropping around the rotation when you do that, that's because your background is probably not set to white. I have it set to white over here, so that'll work. You can also move a sketch as well using your cursor. So that's just V on the keyboard or your tab over here. Okay. So I can move a sketch. Okay. Working with layers. So right now I have everything as one layer. If I want to make any changes to my layers or add more layers, I can double click on my background here as my default layer to unlock it. That'll give it a new name, and now you can make manipulations. I'm going to quickly open up a new document and show you guys how to build a sketch page in a new document. So we scan this in. This is 8.5 by 11. I can go to File, New, and Print. Oh, not Print, sorry, Web. For 1920 by 1080, this aspect ratio is widescreen. So if you guys are projecting digitally, this is a good frame size. If you intend on printing like we do for this project, our beverage container project, then you can leave it print and 8.5 by 11. It'll default to 300 pixels per inch, which is pretty good quality and resolution. Let's say you're going to do this for your online portfolio, so you want it to be widescreen. So I say Web 1920 by 1080 brings me a blank document. And I can bring in some other sketches here. So I use my marquee. Let's say I like all of these. Right. I can copy and paste, so Control C on Windows, Command C on Mac, and paste. It came in pretty large because the resolution of this document is only 72 pixels per inch. So I can bring that down, organize it on the page, hit enter to lock it in. I have some more space over here, so I'll go back to this other document. Maybe I'll grab this sketch. Not that it's a great sketch, but it's got a little color, and maybe I like that handle. I paste that in, Control T to transform the size, Command T on Mac. I can hold Shift to lock it into a 90-degree rotation, and that looks kind of nice. So I hit enter. Last thing I'll show you is just that because this new layer is over the last layer, I'm flipping everything behind it. So if I want to tuck these sketches nice and close together, I can go up to my layer mode here and go to multiply. And now I'm looking at multiple layers. So that layer becomes transparent, so to speak. And I can tuck my sketches nice and neat. You guys can add text directly in Photoshop, or you can export this to Canva or Google Slides as a high quality JPEG. So to do that, File, save a copy. By default, it'll go to Creative Cloud, so you can say on your computer, and you can save it as a JPEG file type. There'll be some, like in a dialog box, you can select maximum quality resolution, you can give it a title, and then from here you can bring it into Canva or some other kind of typesetting document. But that's it. Yep, now you guys know what you need to do to edit your sketches, do some color correction, and compile onto a single sketch page. So thanks for watching.